Hello and welcome back to the Blackburn podcast. It's our Behind Enemy Lines feature where we look at the away ground guide. A little bit of a different one this week, and you'll see I'm not on my own. If you want to introduce yourself and where we can find you.
Yes, I'm not sure many of the Blackburn pod fans would want to come over, but yes, we are the biggest Burnley fan channel. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Turfcast, and we're also on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, even TikTok. Just search Turfcast, you'll find us.
Great stuff. I'm sure, depending on the result, you might get some coming over. But
Might have to block a few on Sunday, maybe, yeah.
Hopefully, in some ways. So in terms of the away ground guide, generally speaking, it's for fans who've not been away before to that ground. Obviously, It's slightly different here. So what we're going to focus on is just very briefly about how, as a Rovers fan, we're going to get to Turf Moor. So the options, we've got a coach. That's fine. It takes care of itself. The concourse, fine. If we're coming on the train or we are coming on by car, what are going to be the best routes? So train first. Obviously, there's the two stops. Are they relatively pretty much similar distances or?
So you've got I think the main one would be, depending on which line you're coming on, would be Burnley Manchester Road. I'd recommend stopping at that one. You've got Burnley Central as well, but it's easier to walk from Burnley Manchester Road. So if you get in the train, I'd recommend doing that way. And it is the main line between the two towns anyway. So I think most people will be taking that one anyway. So yeah, you'd stop off at Burnley Manchester Road and then you get off, I presume, to some police presence. But as we spoke on my show earlier, they can't escort everybody with so many trains coming in. Hence the difficulties of when this game isn't a bubble game. But you'll get off there and then you can come out of the train station and you'll see what used to be where the cinema is. It's like all sort of like roadworks and a closed down pub now. We've knocked it down and rebuilding something else there. Just cross over the road there towards that pub and you'll walk down like a flyover. It's called Centenary Way. Walk down towards the big Tesco and then just follow the road round really. Then you get to like a Gala Bingo. And that's where you're basically on the main route to the turf then, where you'll walk past the Royal Dash and things like that. So I'm not sure what it's going to be like. I remember last time, and I just avoided town altogether. I went to the fan zone speaking as a home fan. Obviously, I know you guys can't do that, but I'm just saying that I avoided that area altogether. I don't know what it's going to be like walking past the Royal Dash for you guys. I would hope that everything's good and there's no idiots. Obviously, both sides has them. Both sides has the idiots, so it will be interesting. But yeah, that would be the way you walk. At best, probably to get a police escort if you're going to be walking past there, but it depends. It should be okay though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm on the fans forum. Some of our viewers will know that. And we did have a meeting with the police that we have before all these games. It's not a bubble game. The trains are running this time, so some people will be getting the train. And what they were saying was that there's quite a few trains. I think there's about 8 before the game, mainly to Manchester Road, which is what they were saying. There'll be a police presence there, but they don't think they'll be able to escort everybody all the way to the ground because they're about 20 minutes each time. So I think it would be wise to not be wearing colours and making your presence known as you're walking down that route. But if I'm travelling by car, where would I be best advised, would you say, to be parking?
There's quite a few car parks, sort of like, obviously, again, it's different with it being, again, I'd just say don't turn up, with, 4 scarves hanging out the windows, blue and white scarves. But there's plenty of parking areas in the town. In the town centre, just go to any of the car parks, really, and park there. Obviously, you come off the M65. In my opinion, just in terms of traffic, you'd be better off coming at the one that's actually near my house. And I always struggle with junctions. I don't know what number the junction is. No. But you get to Burnley. There's like the main one where you come off in the main centre to a big like roundabout. Come off at the one before that, in my opinion, and then you'll come up. I don't know why I've got a bubble on my face now. If you do that, by the way, you can get a love heart as well. There you go. Teaching you some StreamYard things. If you go, come off at that junction, and then you'll go past the cemetery, and then you get there, turn right, and then you'll go up and around the town, just completely avoiding the town centre. And then there's. If you want to be parking around there, though, parking would be difficult. It would be my advice to not travel by car, if I'm going to be honest with you. My advice would be to just be sensible. And if you have to get the train, get the train. If you have to get the coach, get the coach. I would advise going by coach. But in terms of parking, most of the parking spaces are in the town centre, so you'd have to go to the town centre. But the route that I explained will take you avoid the town centre, but then you can park around there. But it's all residential streets, so it's whether you want to risk that. I personally wouldn't. If I'm driving to Blackburn, for example, which I did last time actually, I parked in the main car park because I have a disabled friend, so he had a disabled badge, so he was allowed to park there. I think we paid like a £5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't advise going by car if I'm honest.
No. And in terms of when I've spoken to the police about this, I mean, the last thing we want is obviously any trouble, but we don't want that bubble game returning. And the difference when getting your coach now compared to previously, it's going to be a much quicker operation. So what the police, when we spoke to them, they said, what would be stopping you getting a coach as a fan who doesn't want to turn around and end up in the middle of an absolute riot? And the thing that stops you is the time it takes. So yeah, it is nearer for me to get straight to Burnley, but if it's not going to be much difference in terms of time and it's a lot safer, then I'm going to get the coach. But if it's going to take me hours, I don't want to be doing that. So the coaches are setting off around 10 a.m. They say similar routes to I think what you've said. And actually they're opening the concourse early. They're going to try and get them all in before 10:30, 11. So just take the coach. They're going in convoys of 10. They'll be coming off. It does slow down around the corner, doesn't it? As you come on to right next to Turf Moor. That was a bit of a flashpoint last time, but I would advise you take the coach. I think that, Rovers will still have spaces, and if they don't, they'll probably stick some on the police would much rather that. If not, please be safe, because the last thing we want is to avoid, we don't want any trouble. We don't want these bubble games reappearing because they're a pain in the ass for everybody. But yes, that's it in terms of our away ground guide. Check out our match preview as well. And obviously, Joe is over on Turfcast if you want to go and see the other side's viewpoint. But that is it from myself.